Hello everyone, welcome to the course Radar Engineering. In this course, we have already completed several topics related to the delay line cancellers. Further, the limitations of the MTI with delay line canceller is also discussed, especially blind speeds and clutter attenuation. I hope that you have thoroughly understood the topics which are covered in the previous lecture. The topic which I am going to cover today is the continuation of the previous lecture, and the title of the topic is MTI performance measures and MTI filters. This is the planned content list for the today's session. I am going to introduce a very useful performance measure of MTI is called as MTI improvement factor. We are going to see what is the definition of the MTI improvement factor and what is the significance of that in the radar performance, and also we will be deriving an expression for MTI improvement factor considering single and double delay line cancellers, also taking a general case having n cascaded DLCs. Further, we are going to touch upon n pulse delay line cancellers. In that, we are going to represent the hardware session of the n pulse delay line canceller and what is the comparison between the n pulse delay line canceller and the n cascaded delay line cancellers. And also, we are going to talk about several types of filters which are non-recursive filters, recursive filters. At last, we will be focusing on what is called as optimum MTI filter. Okay, let us recap the part of the previous lecture which is about clutter attenuation. We have commented in the last lecture on clutter attenuation, saying that there is a weakness. What is the weakness of clutter attenuation? The clutter attenuation is to be expected to be larger value, can be made infinite by turning off the radar receiver knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes if the radar receiver is turned off unknowingly, this results into the elimination of the desired moving target echo signals, because at the receiver the radar operators, by looking into the value of the clutter attenuation, if it is infinity, they believe that there is no much effect of the clutter in the detection of the moving target. But unfortunately, there will be the effect of the clutter spectrum effects in the passband area of the DLC, and that will eliminate the desired moving target echo signals. No doubt, the clutter attenuation should be larger enough to remove the clutter spectrum in the area of the passband. But by making this scenario, by creating this scenario, by turning off the radar receiver, the problem arises. How to avoid this problem of increasing the clutter attenuation at the expense of desired targets? If you try to make clutter attenuation nearer to infinity, that leads to misinterpretation. Okay, fine. If the clutter attenuation actual value is infinity, then there won't be any problem. But unknowingly, when the radar receiver is turned off, if the clutter attenuation is infinity, then there will be a problem. So this is not the suitable measure for MTI receiver performance measurement. So what is the alternate measure for us to compare the performance of the MTI radar? at the receiver. The IEEE had defined a measure. It is known as MTI, improvement factor. Here we are not only taking the clutter attenuation, also we are considering the average gain of the delay line canceller or a filter. In this lecture, we are going to stress upon the term called MTI, improvement factor. This is our topic of interest today. How to deal this parameter? Let us define MTI, improvement factor. What is the definition? It is very simple. The signal to clutter ratio at the output of the clutter filter divided by the signal to clutter ratio at the input of the clutter filter. And this ratio, the value what we get is taken averaged uniformly over all target radial velocities of interest. Okay, it is indicated with FD. FD indicates the Doppler frequencies. All the possible values of FD within the passband of the DLC is averaged uniformly. All the expected target radial velocities which are of interest are averaged. Considering a filter, at the input and at the output, the actual signal strength and the clutter strength is measured and taken as a ratio. What is the signal to clutter output which are observed at the output of the filter divided by the signal to the clutter output which are measured at the input. Okay, the value of S and the value of C at the input and the output are measured and taken as a ratio, and this ratio is averaged uniformly over all the values of FD, and this is what is called as MTI, improvement factor, IF. If I rearrange this equation, S out by S in into C in by C out. Okay, there is no significance here for this number. Actually, it is a C in. Okay, if I rearrange it, C in by C out into S out by S in is the expression come out, and the first part of the equation is what is called as clutter attenuation. Clutter attenuation is nothing but the clutter signal strength which are measured at the input divided by the clutter strength measured at the output, multiply by S out by S in. It is nothing but it is a signal gain, the output by input voltage or the signal output voltage or power, whatever you take it. Okay, it is called as signal gain. Okay, it is just a ratio, it is just a number, dimensionless number. So this vertical line on the right of the above equation indicates that the average is taken with respect to FD. This is averaged over all FD values. And how to calculate the signal gain? Any filter you take it, how do you calculate the gain? First, find out or derive the frequency response of that particular filter. Okay, for the given input, what is the output that you get at different frequencies, that will be noted. Okay, and from that we can calculate the average signal gain of the filter. At this moment, the filter is delay line canceller, and usually the average gain whatever we get from the DLC, it will be less than the clutter attenuation. And if your frequency response h of f is proportional to sine power n into pi FDTP, if I take single delay line canceller, the gain what we expect is 2, and for double delay line canceller it is 6. Okay, shortly the average gain for single delay line canceller is 2 and average gain for double delay line canceller, it is actually double delay line canceller, is 6. It is not SDLC, it is DDLC, double delay line canceller, which is 6. Let us derive the equation for MTI improvement factor when n cascaded DLCs are connected in series. For the moment I am considering there is a single DLC. You all know that from the previous slide discussion, the improvement factor, MTI improvement factor, is given by clutter attenuation into average gain. I am considering single delay line canceller. From the previous lecture, we have derived the equation for clutter attenuation. From that, I am borrowing this equation. This is given by Fp square divided by 4 pi square into sigma c square into the average gain from the single delay line canceller is expected to be 2. Okay, and this is equals to Fp square divided by 2 pi square sigma c square. If you wish to represent in terms of sigma v, where sigma v is the standard deviation of the clutter spectrum expressed in terms of meters per second, okay, you can represent it by the relation. What is the relation between sigma c and sigma v? Sigma c is equals to 2 sigma v by lambda. Yes, with that relation I have represented even in terms of sigma v. Okay, I am interested to take this ratio, the ratio sigma c by Fp. So if I rearrange it, we get this form: 1 by 2 pi square sigma c by Fp whole to the power 2. And also in terms of this ratio sigma v by Fp, this is the equation. So this is the value, this is the equation for MTI improvement factor considering single delay line canceller. For the given specifications, you can calculate what is the MTI improvement factor. Okay, if you have the knowledge of clutter attenuation provided the average gain, you can find out this value. Okay, this is the alternate measure of clutter attenuation, alternate measure of MTI performance. You can measure the performance of the MTI either in terms of clutter attenuation or in terms of MTI improvement factor. Similarly, for double delay line canceller, there is only one difference here is the clutter attenuation equation for the double delay line canceller is this, and the signal gain for the double delay line canceller is 6. Okay, and the final expression, by solving this equation we get this in terms of sigma c, in terms of sigma v, and by taking this ratio sigma c by Fp and sigma v by Fp, so this is a useful term. What is this sigma c by Fp? This ratio is a measure of amount of Doppler space occupied by the clutter. Okay, how much amount of Doppler space which is occupied by the clutter can be judged by having this ratio sigma c by fp. In general, if there are n DLCs connected in cascade, then what is the general equation? So this is the general equation for MTI improvement factor if there are n cascaded DLCs. If n is 2, then we get the same equation as this we have derived already for n equals to 2. For n equals to 1, this is the derived equation. Similarly, for any value of n, if you know this equation, you can find out the improvement factor. Okay. Similarly, considering for n equals to 2, using this equation, we get 1 by 8 pi power 4 into sigma c divided by fp whole to the power 4. The same equation is there here also for double delay line canceller, where this ratio gives you the measure of amount of Doppler space occupied by the clutter. We have studied the frequency response of the delay line canceller. Now let us take the time domain representation of the signals, okay, in the DLC, and at the same time we are interested to analyze the time response from this cascaded DLC. Okay, how many DLCs are there? There are 2 delay line cancellers which are connected in series, and this is a double delay line canceller. Let us assume that the input is s of t. At point 1, the input s of t is the input to the first single delay line canceller. This is the input to the single delay line canceller with a delay of 1 by fp, and it is tp. The output response at point 2 from the first single delay line canceller at point 2 is given by s of t minus s of t plus tp. Okay, sweep to sweep subtraction, from the concept of sweep to sweep subtraction. So this is the present value s of t, okay, sorry, past value s of t minus this delayed version s of t plus tp. S of t, some delay is provided here by an amount of tp seconds, s of t plus tp, okay, and s of t is the direct signal from the input. Okay, it is stored in the memory for a period of tp seconds and subtracted these two, and we get s of t minus s of t plus tp at point 2. And whatever the signal that you have at point 2, and now this is given to the second stage of this cascaded DLC, okay, to the second delay line canceller. This is the input to the second delay line canceller. Then what is the response at point 3? At point 3, okay, the direct input which is available at point 2, it is s of t minus s of t plus tp minus s of t plus tp, okay, minus s of t plus 2tp, because we have provided one more delay, okay, s of t minus s of t plus tp. This is a time response at point 2 minus the same signal which has to be delayed by tp seconds. When I delay this, s of t plus tp, when I delay this, we get s of t plus 2tp. So this is the resultant value or the signal as a response which we get at point 3. This is the final output time response from the double delay line canceller. S of t minus, rearranging this, S of t minus 2s of t plus tp plus s of t plus 2tp. S of t minus into minus, okay, 2s of t plus 2tp plus minus into minus plus s of t plus 2tp. This is what is the final time response from the double delay line canceller. I am going to introduce a very useful configuration which we normally use at the radar receiver for MTI. It is called as N-pulse delay line canceller. As we have seen in the last slide that two delay line cancellers are connected in series. If there are three delay lines, then you need to take three single delay line cancellers and connected in series. If there are n number of delay line cancellers, then we need to take n number of single delay line cancellers and connect it in series. Okay, it is not very easy for us to realize the time response of that particular delay line canceller which is in cascaded form. I need to go through from stage to stage to analyze the time response of the cascaded DLC. Instead, we have the alternate configuration which is the easiest one. It is N-pulse delay line canceller. In this type, the n pulses are to be added at a time in a summer. We are going to take n pulses and those pulses are going to be added at a time in a summer or a adder. Hence the name N-pulse delay line canceller. Okay, how many number of delay lines are required? If there are n pulses, then we require n minus 1 number of delay lines, capital N minus 1 number of delay lines. Okay, if there are two delay lines, that means we get 3 pulses, where capital N represents number of pulses, small n represents number of delay lines. Similarly, okay, if I take this as an example, the double delay line canceller, how many number of pulses are required? For double delay line cancellers, we require 3 pulses. For triple delay line canceller, we require 4 pulses. For single delay line canceller, we get 2 pulses and so on. So in general, the capital N equals to small n plus 1. The n pulse delay line canceller has the same frequency or time response as that of the n single delay line canceller connected in series. There is no difference at all. You can either take the single delay line cancellers connected in series, or you take n pulse delay line canceller. Okay, operation wise both will give the same frequency response or time response, but analysis point of view, this representation will be the easier one compared to the previous one. Okay, by taking large number of pulses or more number of delay lines, the greater will be the clutter attenuation. This is what we require. Okay, we need to remove the clutter spectrum as much as possible. So we expect clutter attenuation should be larger. In order to increase the clutter attenuation, we need to take larger the value of capital N or small n. We have seen how to find the time response from the cascaded DLC. Now let us analyze how to get a response from the n pulse DLC. Okay, assume that there are small n number of delay lines that results into capital N number of pulses, which is equals to small n plus 1, okay, to produce a frequency response function which is proportional to sine power n into pi of d Tp. This is the same frequency response, right, that we have achieved from the same cascaded delay line canceller. To expect the same frequency response proportional to this, okay, we need to calculate suitable weights for each pulses. If there are n pulses, okay, and for each pulses there will be a weight, okay, we need to calculate suitable weights for each pulses in order to produce the frequency response proportional to this in the n pulse delay line canceller. Okay, how to calculate the weights? And it is observed that a binomial weights are the best suited weights to produce the expected response. Okay, in order to suit the frequency response approximately equals to sine to the power n into pi of dTp, the binomial weights are best suited. Okay, how to calculate these weights? Okay, let us take the binomial series 1 minus x power n. If you expand it, the coefficients of this binomial series expansion are the weights with alternate signs. Okay, there is a formula to calculate the binomial weights with alternating sign, which is given by Wi. It is a function to calculate the weight. Minus 1 to the power I minus 1 into n factorial divided by n minus I plus 1 factorial into I minus 1 factorial, where I can take value from 1 to capital N, where capital N represents number of pulses. If there are 3 pulses, then we get 3 weights, W1, W2, W3. If there are 2 pulses, only we get W1 and W2. Okay, this I will be varying from 1 to capital N, where capital N is equals to small n plus 1. Taking an example of 3 pulse delay line canceller, let us implement a 3 pulse delay line canceller. Okay, there are some steps in order to implement a n pulse delay line canceller. The first step, first identify the basic requirements. Okay, we need to know how many number of pulses are required based upon how many number of delay lines that we are going to use in the filter. Okay, if n is equals to capital N equals to 3 means small n should be 2. Okay, from the relation capital N equals to small n plus 1. Okay, if there are 3 pulses, we will be having 3 binomial weights, W1, W2, W3. Okay, and each pulses with weights W1, W2, W3 are to be given to the summer or adder. We will be having a single summer. Okay, so we know this equation already. Okay, for I equals to 1, 2, 3, okay, we get these 3 weights, W1 equals to plus 1, W2 equals to minus 2, W3 equals to plus 1. Okay, this is the one method, or you can expand the binomial series 1 minus x to the power n, where n is small n is 2. If you expand it, okay, we get 1 plus x square minus 2x. Okay, if you rearrange it, 1 minus 2x plus x square, the coefficients of the x, okay, in this expansion are +1, -2, +1. These are the binomial weights for 3 pulses. Okay. Draw the hardware configuration as per the given requirements. Okay. We will be having 2 delay lines, 1, 2. How many pulses? 3 pulses. The first pulse is taken from the point 1 and the second pulse is taken from the point 2 and the third pulse is taken from the point 3. There are 3 points, 1, 2, 3, okay, where we take 3 pulses. Okay, and these 3 pulses are going to be added by the summer or the adder with the following weights. We have calculated +1, -2, +1. Okay, at point 4 the final output time response is expected from the 3 pulse delay line canceller. Let us analyze. At point 1 the input is s of t with a binomial weight +1 and it is given to the summer. Okay, at point 2 the signal s of t is delayed, right? Hence it is s of t plus tp, some time period is added, t plus tp with binomial weight -2 and it is also given to the summer. At point 3 this s of t plus tp is again delayed by tp period. So s of t plus 2 tp is the signal in a time domain representation with a binomial weight +1. It is also given to the summer. How many number of pulses are there? Those many pulses will be given to the summer. Okay, at point 4 add these 3 signals, okay, which you have at point 1, point 2, point 3. Finally we get s of t minus 2 s of t plus tp plus s of t plus 2 tp. This is the final time response from this 3 pulse delay line canceller. If you go back and see, the same response what we had, okay, in the case of double delay line canceller, the same response we also get when you take 3 pulse delay line canceller. So the time response of the double delay line canceller is as same as the time response of the 3 pulse delay line canceller. In general, the time response or the frequency response of the small n delay line canceller connected in series equals to the time or the frequency response of the capital N pulse delay line canceller. Okay, let us take different classifications of filters. Okay, so here we have a transversal filter and it is also called as non-recursive filter. What is non-recursive filter? So this is the representation of the transversal or non-recursive filter. Okay, the previous example what we had, okay, a 3 pulse DLC or in general a n pulse delay line canceller, which is an example for the transversal filter and it is non-recursive. What is the meaning of non-recursive? If there is no feedback, okay, if there is no feedback or if there is no memory, okay, and it is called as non-recursive. It is a time domain filter with feed forward lines and taps with weights Wi and the delays Ti and these Ti values T1, T2, T3 up to T capital N minus 1 are usually equal. Okay, and we are going to have only feed forward lines with some suitable taps with weights Wi. Okay, W1, W2, W3, W4 and so on. Okay, there is no feedback loops, and this configuration is what is known as non-recursive filter or feed forward filter and all zero filter or FIR filter, finite impulse response filter or finite memory filter, because it has no feedback. Is it best suited for MTI applications? Ultimately, our goal is to properly shape the frequency response of the filter. In this configuration, we don't have much freedom to shape the frequency response of the filter. Why? Because the feedback loop is not there. Only we have feed forward lines provided with some taps with appropriate weights. Okay, you can take binomial weights or you can take your own weights as per your requirement of the frequency response. If you want to achieve the same frequency response proportional to sine to the power n into pi of phi FDTP, then we are going to refer binomial weights as W1, W2 up to Wn. In case if you wish to reshape the frequency response as per your requirement or your demand, you can take or change the weights. It's up to you. Okay. Are there any disadvantages of using this kind of non-recursive filters in the MTI radars? Since the availability of only feed forward lines, okay, it allows the designer only n zeros for synthesizing the frequency response, because it is all zero filter. Okay, this results in many delay lines. Okay, for shaping the filter response as per the requirement. If you wish to shape the frequency response as per your requirement, you need to increase as many number of delay lines, because there is no freedom. There is only freedom given to increase the number of delay lines, that's all. Okay, and there are some limits to the number of delay lines or pulses. You cannot take as you like. Okay, if you take more number of delay lines, what happens? Or more number of pulses, the passband area of the delay line canceller becomes narrow and narrow, thereby you cannot detect the number of targets which are moving. So we'll search for alternative approaches to the MTI filter implementation, okay, other than the non-recursive filter. There is some trade-off. Okay, if your requirement is in the form of a hardware complexity, okay, or simplified configuration, if you wish to develop, then you need to compromise on the performance. If you are ready to cost more, then you need to analyze a lot, okay, with respect to hardware configuration. So this is the recursive filter. what is the difference between non-recursive filter and the recursive filter? So comparing to the previous type of filter, the recursive filters are using not only feed forward loops, also the recursive filters are having a feedback loops. Okay, the feedback loops are used along with feed forward loops, and each delay line can able to provide not only 0, it will also provide a pole. Both pole and 0 can be produced from each delay, okay, for increased design flexibility. The complexity of the system is larger, but there is a freedom to shape the frequency response function. Okay, you have one more choice, because you have a feedback paths, feedback loops. You have a pole. A pole is nothing but, okay, the pole and 0, the terms are related to stability of the system. When you are going to generate a pole, means a capacitor, one capacitor will produce a one pole. Okay, if you take a circuit point of view, okay, as the order of the filter increases, the number of poles increases as you connect more number of capacitors. Okay, but stability will go down. Okay, always there is a trade-off. If you want to compromise on stability, then you can increase the order of the filter, and the response of the filter get flat and flat. Okay, and it is moreover useful where there is a more tuning required in the frequency response function, and it is usually known as infinite impulse response filter, IIR filter, or pole 0 filter. Okay, with this you can able to synthesize almost any frequency response function with the basis of Z transform. Okay, the additional degree of freedom is available here to shape the frequency response function. The advantage of using this recursive filter is which offers a steady state response, but the disadvantage is it results into poor transient response due to feedback loop in the filter. Okay, the filter may be recursive or non-recursive, okay, and it should be optimum as per your requirements. Which one is best, you decide as per your demands and take the particular filter. And what is the solution for avoiding a poor transient response due to feedback loops in the filter? There is only one solution, is to use multiple PRF, pulse repetition frequency, for achieving the desired MTI filter characteristics. And this is the final topic of the today's lecture, which is about optimum filter. What is optimum filter? We have considered a lot of filter configurations, recursive, non-recursive, okay, cascaded delay line cancellers, n pulse delay line cancellers. Okay, which one is optimum? And first of all, what is the meaning of optimum? The optimum filter, actually they do not necessarily have the characteristics that are always desirable for MTI filter. What is the meaning of optimum? The optimum meaning is not the best. Okay, these filters might be optimum in the sense that they satisfy specified criteria. Okay, in that context the filters are said to be optimum. Okay, we are going to assume some criterias. Okay, if your filter is going to satisfy, if it satisfies those criterias or if it met some assumptions, then the filter is said to be optimum. Okay, it is not necessarily that the filter has to satisfy always the characteristics offered by the desirable MTI filter. The optimum is not a synonym for best. That's what I said. It means the best under the given set of assumptions. Okay. So in the previous analysis of DLC, we derived the frequency response for single delay line canceller, and we found the frequency response is proportional to sin to the power n of pi of dTp. And this is not the only reference or the pertinent criteria for us to design a filter for MTI performance. You can change this frequency response as per the requirements, as per the set of assumptions, okay, as per the criteria, and this is derived by assuming that the clutter distribution is as like Gaussian distribution. Okay, the clutter characteristics or the target characteristics is not deterministic always. Taking that aspect into consideration, you provide a freedom to shape the frequency response with any conventional filter. Okay, since the characteristics of the target signal is not deterministic always, so it is very much required to shape the flat frequency response over the region where no clutter is expected. In that way, filter has to be designed. Hope you understood the concepts of different filters, types of filters, recursive, non-recursive, the hardware representation of the cascaded delay line cancellers, and the hardware representation of the n-pulse delay line cancellers, and how to realize the time response from the given delay line cancellers, and also understood the limitations of the MTI with DLC, how to calculate the clutter attenuation, okay, how to improvise the measures of the MTI performance by introducing MTI improvement factor, and so on and so forth. Thank you.